you may not take advantage of that situation, and ideally you would offer them help if they are truly surrendering. Interestingly, it was also around this time when Sun Tzu's book The Art of War was released, and in it he emphasized the importance of strategy over brutality in warfare.
When I say, I think back in the day, motherfuckers didn't care at all. Motherfuckers would capture you alive, skin you alive, boil you alive, put you in a fucking like a bed of salt. They would burn you alive, and then like they would like strap you to a pole. Nah, bro, it's evil, bro.
And in case you forgot, protected.
But that shit, wait, bro, ain't no mother. To be fair, now, bro, if I was a general, I'd be like, I ain't following that shit. Chat, new video, every war crime explained by Trust Me Bro. Very good channel.
There's an old saying that goes, all is fair in love and war. But I would argue that saying is totally and utterly wrong. And unless you would consider breaking...
Wait, guys, real quick, wait, do we have this bitch on 0.5? Puppy? There you go. Bro, I like that saying because it makes perfect sense. Bro, it's meant to be ironic. All is fair in love and war. No, it's not. But that's the point of the saying.
Happy family to get the girl of your dreams, or killing innocent civilians to satisfy your political means as fair, then I would imagine you would agree. And in that case, I think the fact that there is literally things that are legal and illegal in war...
Which I really important, I figured out the way that I'm getting a haircut, and pray for me it goes well.
Bolsters my theory, and also brings us to the point of today's video. War undoubtedly is one of the most hellish experiences available on Earth. And somewhat paradoxically, war has its own code of ethics. Now, whether or not these codes are actually followed or not depends. Regardless, there are some acts, weapons, and strategies that are considered simply too cruel for war. And in today's video, I'm going to describe in detail every single thing that is banned or illegal in war, starting with the earliest recorded examples of war crimes and ending in the current standards for ethical warfare, aka everything that is considered a war crime. Let's begin. Ancient rules of war.
Can I say, I think back in the day, motherfuckers didn't care at all. Like what was ethical in war. Motherfuckers would capture you alive, skin you alive, boil you alive, put you in a fucking like a bed of salt, make you like fucking roll in it. They would burn you alive, and then like they would like strap you to a pole. I don't think motherfuckers like at all cared like what fucking like ethics of war. Oh, guys, real quick, my voice sounds really good today. Like, bro, I'm gonna watch it back and I'm gonna be like, oh yeah, I'm gonna touch myself for editing today.
With how brutal day-to-day life was thousands of years ago, it's almost hard to imagine how brutal war must have been in that time period. However, believe it or not, even in some of the earliest civilizations, the concept of ethical war and war crimes was present, albeit in a rather rudimentary way. Now, it's important to note that the term war crime has really only existed since the 1800s, although the concept of rules in warfare predates that by thousands of years, and actually has set the foundation for modern war crimes and war standards today. I'm going to keep this section brief, although I did want to quickly mention a few interesting and unique war crimes from a handful of different ancient civilizations. Starting in ancient India, going back all the way to roughly 600 BCE, ancient Indian texts proved that there was a code of conduct when it came to warfare, and this code of conduct was known as the Dharma Yuddha, essentially translating to righteous warfare. The principles of the Dharma Yuddha were meant to be
even that name is funny. Righteous warfare.
taken as law.
It sounds sick as fuck
And it was said that breaking these rules during warfare would result in moral consequences. And the rules stated in the Dharma Yuddha are the following. First,
wait, that makes perfect sense, bro. That makes perfect sense, actually. If motherfuckers didn't care about ethics, they would believe like religion like would be a big factor. Like that would affect like war. Yeah, good point actually, yeah.
equal fights only. And what this meant was that chariots were only meant to attack chariots, and one soldier could only attack one soldier. If there was a battle taking place, the battle was meant to be fair. Secondly, no attacking sleeping, retreating, or surrendering soldiers. And on top of this, you may also not harm unarmed women, children, elderly people, or disabled people. The third law of the Dharma Yuddha states that combat begins after sunrise and ends after sunset. And the fourth law states that there may be no poison.
Wait, bro, they were advanced back then, bro. Bro, they were righteous.
Barbed or hidden
Were they only fucking like, bro, I've never heard of like a civilization being that fair.
used in warfare.
Every other empire is fucking like ruthless in that sense.
And finally, surrendered enemy soldiers must be protected and treated as prisoners of war, and wounded enemies who surrender to you must be treated and cared for. During 5th century BCE in ancient China, they too had their own code of conduct when it came to warfare, with some of the most notable examples being the following. Firstly, no attacking unready enemies. This would essentially eliminate sneak attacks or ambushes. Secondly, you were not to take advantage of fleeting or surrendering enemies in distress.
Bro, that's the issue. It just takes like one motherfucker to break that, and then they all respect that. Like, why would they give a fuck about that kind of shit if some of the motherfucker broke it first? That's the issue, bro.
Meaning that if there's an enemy that...
And bro, of course, like, the first motherfucker who breaks that would be somebody who doesn't give a fuck at all and just wants victory. That's the issue, bro.
Or simply unoffensively tending to his own wounds, you may not take advantage of that situation, and ideally you would offer them help if they are truly surrendering. Interestingly, it was also around this time when Sun Tzu's book The Art of War was released, and in it he emphasized the importance of strategy over brutality in warfare, and suggested focusing on subduing power players to avoid excessive destruction in cities. Now, while this may seem noble in the...
But that's the issue, right? You know, you believe like he's right, Sun Tzu, but then the issue is, when you have empire like the Mongol Empire, you're like, fuck, bro. Like when you have a big player step in and they show like how fucking ruthless they can be, like how they can win easily by being ruthless. That's the issue, bro.
Of its time, it's important to note that this wasn't a humanitarian play. This was simply an example of high-leverage strategies to be used ideally in war. This doesn't mean that they would be against brutality if strategy didn't work. The teachings just advised trying to use strategy when possible. Okay, quickly putting history and crime to the side for just a moment, I wanted to ask, have you been putting off making a doctor's appointment even though you know you should?
Oh, add. Wait! Hey, I just hit the jackpot! Hey, we're
common
good.
laws of the Hellenes when it came to
Yo.
warfare, and these laws were the following. If you are to partake in war, an official declaration is required. If a war is ongoing, you still must respect sacred truces. And one example of this would be the Olympic Games. Thirdly,
That's true.
if you were in position
Bro, that's true actually. Chat. I played Civ 6 and that's so true, bro. I played Sid Meier's Civilization 6 and you have to declare a casus belli before you can start a war. That's true actually.
of dead enemies, you had to return them if requested. And finally, you may not mutilate enemy corpses, as it was considered barbaric. Now, a couple of notes about these Greek rules specifically. For starters, these were not necessarily written, followed rules. These were
Yeah, I'm sorry. There was a fucking bug in my head that's fucking eating my brain alive. Ow, bro. I feel like the worst headache on the left part of my brain. Which chat, is the left part or the right part the personality? Which side of the brain is created? Shut up. Left or I know one part's like creative, one part's like scientific. It's fucking bullshit. Is it the right brain is artistic and creative, while the left brain is analytical? Okay, right now my smart brain is fucking like hurting, so I might be a bit dumb this episode. Sorry, guys. Fuck.
actually
Pause.
unwritten customs that were, well, customary and agreed upon across different Greek city-states. And it's important to note that these rules specifically applied to inter-Greek conflicts, with the sole goal of limiting brutality when it comes to Greek-on-Greek violence and warfare. With that being said, that means that these rules did not apply to non-Greek barbarians, meaning that if you were a Greek soldier fighting a non-Greek soldier, all of these rules were out of the window. And even if you were a Greek soldier fighting a different Greek soldier, because enforcement was so weak on these rules, and this was more or less of a gentleman's agreement, having these rules be followed was, well, on a case-by-case basis, to say the least. But now that we are armed with ancient historical context when it comes to rules of war and war crimes, I want to jump directly to the establishment of the modern war crime to describe exactly how war crimes came to be in the first place and how the term war crime evolved from its establishment in the roughly 1800s to the modern day, the Lieber Code. As we've discussed so far in this video, throughout history there have been countless cultures with countless different customs or rules.
Bro, I think as well. They made, oh my god, ugh, my throat. They made war crimes like more defined because of the new weapons, bro. Bro, when you got fucking like muskets, cannons, and like shrapnel, that's when you realize like shit can get fucked
Or
up.
gentlemen's agreements when it comes to warfare. But it wasn't until 1863, with the establishment of the Lieber Code, that there was ever one formalized, codified system that sought to govern and be the official law when it came to war. Francis Lieber was born in 1798 in Berlin, and as a young adult, Francis was exposed to the horrors of war. He first fought for Prussia in the Napoleonic Wars, and then later fought in the Greek War of Independence less than a decade later. Fortunately, Francis
Oh my god, bro, what a track record, holy
survived
shit.
both of these wars, and ended up moving to America and became an academic. He worked in the University of South Carolina as a tenured professor for both history and political economy, and it was actually at this job where he met Major General Henry W. Halleck. And shortly after becoming professionally acquainted, Francis was commissioned by this Major General to write the first instructions for the government of the armies of the United States in the field, aka the General's Orders 100, aka the Lieber Code. And the initial purpose of the Lieber Code was to be the military law that governed the actions of the Union Army during the Civil War. Now, this was no small task. Francis
Oh, the Union
was
Army.
literally just asked,
Wait, who's the other army? There's the Union Army who's racist. Who's the other one? The Liberal? The North. I saw you can be part of the North actually.
to make the rules of war for an entire army based off of basically all of the customs of war to ever exist. And while this job may seem daunting,
Wait, wasn't it like the worst time for war crimes? The Civil War? Cause they would burn down like houses, bro. They would go scorched earth in their own country.
he was
No.
the perfect man for the job, as he had both war experience, law experience, and political experience. And what he presented to the American government at the time not only went on to shape the Civil War, but also served as the basis for other warfare-related laws that came later down the line. One notable example being the Geneva Convention, which we're going to discuss soon. Now, with that being said, let's dive into exactly what the
Also, bro, I want to see him bring up the one code they had after World War One, because I know that one was actually useless. What's it called? Yeah, bro, like that one they had like the United Nations. No, they had the League of Nations after World War One, but I think it was fucking worthless.
Lieber Code suggests
in World War
should and
II.
shouldn't be allowed in war. Now, it's important to note that the Lieber Code literally has 157 articles, which is why I'm going to discuss the main points specifically pertaining to war.
100, bro. Generally in a war, There's no way every single soldier is gonna follow like all those fucking rules, bro. That's crazy. Not every soldier and also not every general, bro. Bro, you can't ensure
war
that.
crimes, or what should not be allowed.
Also, bro, bear in mind, bro, that's what they do with war crimes. From the point of view of your enemy, if their back is against the wall, they will do anything and everything to fucking succeed. Why would they care about committing a war crime if you know, like, either go big or go home? Either you win the war or you lose, and you get put to trial for the war crime. Nobody. I guess then maybe. No, bro. I think even if you won, like, you know, even like your own generals wouldn't care if you did a war crime. That's the issue.
Allowed in war, according to the
But yeah, either go big or go home. Either be fucked up as shit and win the war, or do fucked up shit and die anyway if you get captured or whatever.
code. The following acts are either admissible under military necessity or outright forbidden in any context, and they go as follows. Firstly, and kind of ironically, the first thing that is prohibited is cruelty, which to me sounds like a complete oxymoron, saying that cruelty is banned in war. But in the context of the Lieber Code, it is suggested that the infliction of suffering for the sake of suffering or revenge is unnecessary. And how this could look on the battlefield is if your goal is to kill your enemy, you may do so effectively and quickly. However, if you are intentionally doing it in a slow or cruel way, potentially injuring non-vital limbs, that could be considered intentional cruelty and be punishable by death according to the Lieber Code. There's quite a few things that are considered war crimes under the Lieber Code, so for the rest of these, I'm going to kind of go rapid fire. Other notable
Bro, that's it. I also feel like during a civil war, people won't be as like ruthless. Because bro, in a civil war, it's you against somebody else who's in the same country. If it's like a national conflict with two countries that who like might hate each other, that's different. Like France and Germany, they probably hate each other and they fucking you know, okay, even Israel and Palestine, two motherfuckers who really hate each other, bro. That's when they would be like more
acts that are
ruthless.
considered war crimes under the Lieber Code are as follows. Torturing enemy soldiers, including
Bro, that's the issue as well. Bro. I made me realize war is more fucked up now because of two things. Weapons, like, you know, we have like way more shit, and history. People will become more violent if they have a history of like the other enemy and how they've been ruthless, and vice versa. Because then they become racist, but also they look down on them and they treat them even worse, bro. My god, like, bro, most soldiers who are like ruthless and like inflict cruelty do it because, you know, like they were like traumatized when they were younger. I feel like, you know, Ergo, for example. But yeah, bro, back in the day, bro, motherfuckers would start a war against another tribe for just resources. Like maybe they would be like a bit savage, but, you know, like that would be like they would just do it for simple reasons. Now we have like thousands of years of like history and culture like conflicting during
to
wars.
extort them for confessions. Using poison in any way. Any act of hostility that makes returning to peace unnecessarily difficult. Destruction of property that is not commanded by an authorized officer. Robbery, specifically.
Yeah, that one's broken though.
Stealing private items off of enemy soldiers. Rape of any kind. Wounding, maiming, or killing civilians. Committing any crime against civilians, including arson, murder, robbery, fraud, or forgery. Killing prisoners of war. Racially discriminating prisoners of war. And firing upon outposts, sentinels, or pickets. Now, even with that small bit of context, it's easy.
Also, yeah, real quick, so that last one about like, you know, no racism. I think, yeah, bro, Papi, that was like a big issue in the Civil
Understand
War.
that the core purpose of the Lieber Code was to minimize cruelty and prolonged suffering as much as possible within the context of war. And with the Lieber Code literally being the first draft ever made in the context of war crimes and international humanitarian law, it's truly not a bad first draft, especially for being made by one guy. And the Lieber Code was thought to be so fair and so revolutionary at the time that on April 24th, 1863, President Abraham Lincoln himself issued the Lieber Code to be the official binding military law for the Union Army throughout the American Civil War.
Oh. Sorry, Papa Chulo, pause. I will say, as fucked up as humanity is, I think it's a big fucking landmark for culture and civil rights that we have shit like that, like writing on paper saying, like, you know, there are things as war crimes that we should avoid to be more humanitarian. Like, yeah, we will start wars, but we will try our best to be as civil about it. I think if there was a god, like, bro, he would, of course there's a god, but if he looked at that, I think he would be proud of that. He would be proud, like, you know, like, we have like a set rules that we agree, like, not everyone follows them, but as you know, the people in power will impose rules like that in the first place. So that's good.
While the Lieber Code initially had a very niche application, at least in a global context, it would soon go on to become the global standard when it comes to humanitarian law during warfare, as well as the global governing law when it comes to war crimes. But with that being said, the Lieber Code was the first ever formal recognition and establishment of what war crimes were and consisted of, although these rules only applied to one army for one war, and did not become federal or international law
Oh, it's just a one. I want something to be for both sides, bro.
until
Oh shit, bro.
Which brings us to our next section, the Hague Conventions. Following the end of the American Civil War, the concept of federal or potentially even international laws regarding war became a popular thought experiment among political figures, military strategists, and academics alike. And it was for this reason that the Hague Conventions were established. The Hague Conventions were a series of international treaties and declarations negotiated in both 1988 and 1907 at two different peace conferences.
I'm sorry, bro, I was looking in the mirror. My beard is so fucked today, bro. Like in recent, bro. Like it's getting way too long. That's why I want to get a haircut. Whenever I get a haircut, I also like shave the beard.
The Netherlands.
To get like more
The Hague
defined.
Conventions were the precursor to the
But I look chopped for like a day or two, being clean
famous
shaven.
Geneva Conventions, which we'll get into next. But the Hague Conventions are extremely important in the context of war crimes because just like the Lieber Code was the first ever recognized law for warfare, the Hague Conventions was the first ever international law when it came to war crimes, and laws of war. And as I stated earlier, the Lieber Code was a massive influence on the Hague Conventions, although the two are not identical, with the Hague Conventions affirming the Lieber Code but also adding the following. And just for context, I'm going to be combining both Hague Conventions into one, because the 1899 and the 1907 Hague Conventions are both similar. The 1907 Hague Conventions were just a revision of the original. So for that reason, I'm just going to combine them here. With that being said, notable new war crimes include killing or wounding an enemy who has laid down his arms or no longer has a means of defense, improperly using national flags, military insignias, or military uniforms, using bullets which expand or flatten easily in the human body, attacking or bombarding towns.
Oh wait, that's against it. Also, bro, that's the issue with fucking like making laws against that. For all you know, in 10 years, like there could be back in the day at least, there could be new weapons that you have no idea like how to tackle, bro. Like, bro, those motherfuckers in 907 probably didn't know what a fucking shotgun was. They probably didn't know what a tank was. They probably didn't know what fucking like gas shells were. That's the issue, bro. You can never predict back in the day what new weapons would fucking like be made and how they would fit into your code of ethics.
Buildings that are undefended, looting towns that are occupied, declaring no mercy or refusing surrender, forcing civilians in occupied territories to give up information about their country's army or its means of defense, collective punishments for acts of individuals, general destruction or pillaging of private property unless demanded by military necessity, attacking hospital ships or medical personnel, not respecting neutral powers and territories, and automatic submarine contact mines must not become indiscriminate hazards after control is lost. Which I have no idea how you would even go about, collecting mines.
Yeah, what the fuck, bro? What are you on about,
area
bro?
you've already lost. Like, if the mines are there and then you've lost control of the area or the mine itself, I don't know how you're going to make it indiscriminate.
As in, they mean like after you've lost, you have to reveal where it is.
Contact mine comes in contact is going off, but regardless, the Hague Conventions were groundbreaking when it came to international humanitarian and warfare law. It also made some interesting changes when it came to warfare in general, like the addition of laws pertaining to naval warfare. But of course, the establishment of war crimes did not end with the Hague Conventions.
Bro, naval warfare was the most fucked. Motherfuckers back in the day didn't care if you were like a warship or a civilian boat. They would sink your shit, bro.
Which leads us to our next
Right to the Mariana
most
Trench.
famous conventions, the Geneva Convention. Here we are. That's right, which you've all been waiting for. The most famous and also most recent adaptation of the list of actions that are considered war crimes, as well as other codes of conduct when it comes to warfare and humanitarian stuff. The Geneva Conventions of 1949 are the most famous Geneva Conventions and consist of 4 different treaties. These 4 treaties consist of previous Geneva Conventions. Interestingly, the Geneva Conventions actually date back to the 1860s, predating the Hague Conventions, but that initial Geneva Convention really only focused on one thing, and I figured I would put all of the Geneva Conventions together and chronologically time it with the 1949 Geneva Conventions because that's where it really became its final form, so to speak. If you're unfamiliar, the Geneva Convention itself is the core of all modern international humanitarian law, or IHL, and its sole goal is to protect the victims of armed conflicts. The Geneva Conventions of 1949 were, of course, a byproduct of the end of the Second World War, where many crime...
Bro, that's the issue. Bro, even I feel like the most common like European like wars, like the Yugoslavian war, even that shit... Bro, no. Papi, that shit was not fault at all, bro, during that war. Like the fucking, like the Muslim people that were killed, bro. That was bro. They were not being like fucking treated like under that code, bro. That's the issue.
Against humanity and war crimes.
Wait, hold on. Quick thought experiment. What even type? I want you to type. Do the Russians and Ukrainians like follow the code? Wait, let me look at it. Do the Russians and how do you spell Ukrainians? Ukrainians follow what Geneva code? Did I just type that? Geneva code. UK judges. Both Russia and Ukraine are parties to both international war, but both sides have faced accusations for... Yeah, bro, that's the issue, bro. During a wartime, can't ensure all of that, bro.
Crimes were committed. And on top of the Geneva Conventions in 1949, we also saw the establishment of the Nuremberg Principles, which is a...
Also, bro, that's also the issue, of morality. If there's like an underdog, like Ukraine, and they're winning the war, you just have to like uphold like those morals, of not breaking the codes, of like not fucking like going scorched earth on Russia, like that. You have to uphold that law against everyone.
Essentially, the
Everyone.
Nuremberg Principles were created not necessarily to define war crimes, but to ensure war crimes were punished. And because there was a lot of Nazi Party members after World War II who committed war crimes, the International Law Commission and United Nations saw it was vital that they created the Nuremberg Principles to ensure all of these guilty individuals did not escape punishment. To put it briefly, the Nuremberg Principles basically state that anybody who commits a war crime is, well, a war criminal. And most importantly, anybody who commits a war crime is subject to penalty at an international level with international law. And internal laws of a country cannot impede or override this international law. Essentially meaning that if you were a Nazi general who committed a war crime, the German government could not change their local laws to get you off of the hook for this war crime, because the war crime or international law supersedes the national law. And on top of this, the Nuremberg Principles also ensured that political status did not relieve the war criminal of their punishment, which is important. But yeah, that's basically the Nuremberg Principles, just ensuring that the laws were actually taken seriously and enforced. But back to the Geneva Conventions. The first Geneva Convention was...
Yeah, but bro, again, like I said before, right? Motherfuckers who commit war crimes, they're the same kind of people who wouldn't care about like the punishment. Like, bro, tell a motherfucker like back in the day that tell him that he'd be executed and he'd be like, he wouldn't care. Odds are, if he's in a war in the first place, like he's already accepted, dying. So why would he care about being
actually
executed?
introduced, like I mentioned, in 18...
No, hold on, I'm being dumb. I think that would extend to also like the ministers, like the really higher people. People who didn't go to war, but they influenced it. So I think that was meant to like put like fear into them as well. So that's fair.
64. It was specifically aimed at creating rules around the treatment of sick and wounded armed forces on the battlefield. The Second Geneva Convention actually replaced the Hague Convention of 1907, and essentially contained everything from the First Geneva Convention and the Hague Conventions. The Third Geneva Convention was focused on the treatment of war prisoners and replaced the previous Geneva Convention, and the fourth and final Geneva Convention is the one we're discussing now, which is basically the all-encompassing Geneva Convention. Now, with all of this being said, before I say
That's
Geneva
crazy,
Convention for the...
Bro, how much? Hold on, I want to see it actually. I'm being so dumb right now. How much does the Geneva Convention paper cost? Bro, that should be priceless, bro. No, bro, that's not what I mean. Bro, the paper, bro. The paper. Yeah, the actual like written declaration, bro. What I type. Wait, what did that motherfucker say, bro?
Convention is the one we're discussing now, which is basically the all-encompassing...
This saying, how much does it cost?
war prisoners, and replaced the previous Geneva Convention, and the fourth and final Geneva Convention is the one we're discussing now, which is basically the all...
Geneva, what do I type, bro? Geneva Convention papers. Geneva Convention for international treaty, additional protocols, and no, like the actual paper, bro. Bro, they signed something. What was this thing called? Oh yeah, wait, just signed papers. Geneva Convention, signed papers. Yeah, give me an image, bro. There we go. Geneva Declaration, caption. How much it cost, bro? Okay, bro. Bottom line, I think this should be like prices, bro. Legitimately. Oh, there you go. Convention companies. Convention. Can't fucking find it, bro. But I think this should be prices, bro. Like in 100 years from now, like once, like if this becomes like outdated and it gets put in a museum, that shit would be worth so much money, bro. I know.
All-encompassing Geneva Convention. Now, with all of this being said, before I say Geneva Convention for the millionth time, let me explain some of the newest additions introduced with the Geneva Conventions. Once again, this list includes introductions from all of the Geneva Conventions, dating from the 1860s to the 1940s. The Geneva Gas Protocol states that the use of any asphyxiating, poisonous, or other gases in biological warfare methods are strictly prohibited and considered war crimes. Torture, inhumane treatments, including biological experiments, are also war crimes. Compelling a prisoner of war or other protected person, like civilians, to serve in the forces of a hostile power is a war crime. Depriving a prisoner of war or enemy civilian of their rights and a regular trial is a war crime. And instead of just repeating myself and saying everything's a war crime, everything I'm about to say is a war crime. Taking of hostages, unlawful deportation or unlawful confinement, any act that outrages personal dignity, specifically humiliating or degrading treatment of a protected person, any type of violence, murder, or mutilation of a protected person. You must search for, collect, care for, and evacuate without discrimination when it comes to prisoners of war. You must not attack medical transports or facilities. You must not...
That's bro. That's the issue. If you're a soldier, you have a prisoner of war. You have to dedicate like so many resources to take care of that person, which is good. But if you're in a position like that will make your job so much harder.
Deprive prisoners of war of food, clothing, medical care, and you must not do forced labor in dangerous or hostile conditions. You must protect one's family's honor and religious practices, and you must not make any indiscriminate attacks. In addition to these, you cannot use human shields, you cannot attack cultural objects or monuments, you cannot intentionally starve civilians as a method of warfare, and you cannot attack undefended or
I know one country's not doing that, bro.
militarized zones. And this, of course, is also in addition to all of the other previous laws and rules I suggested. That is, after the ancient ones. The ancient ones don't apply here. But yeah, once again, I'm sure you can see another common theme amongst all of these codes and conventions. The underlying thesis is that these rules are supposed to prohibit unnecessary suffering across the board changes
Oh,
with the
shit,
Nuremberg
oh.
protect non-participants in the
Sorry.
war, aka sick, elderly, injured, or civilians. And one of the biggest changes with the Nuremberg trials and the Geneva Conventions is the mandate for accountability of people who break these war crimes. But yeah, if you were like me and were shocked when you learned that there was rules to war and, well, a lot of them, you were probably also super shocked when you learned that, according to the Geneva Conventions, if you come across enemy soldiers that are surrendering to you or injured, you have to essentially take care of them and treat them as one of your own, which is something I did not know at all. And while I'm curious how much this is actually well honored, it is nice to see
I feel like that's by far. Oh, that's so cute. Oh my god, no way. Is that like a Vietnamese guy? No, he's definitely American. No, it's like American guy and Vietnamese guy. Dude, that's so sweet actually. Oh my god, that's actually so nice. Bro, I feel like that's like one of the most like fucking like, oh bro, that's what the Vietnam War. Wait, hold on. Does Geneva Convention apply to, are those laws applied if it's like two European countries, or does it apply if like, does it apply if like one party is like part of the UN? Because I don't feel like Vietnam was part of the UN, whatever, but America was. Ergo, did America have to follow the rules, but Vietnam didn't? That's crazy. It didn't matter because, you know, both sides, you know, did some fucked up
there's
shit.
at least rules in place to take care of your fellow human, even in some of the most hellish.
Also, bro, is napalm on the rule about like gas? About like fucking like deadly weapon,
disgusting
whatever?
conditions ever imaginable. But with that, ladies and gentlemen, there you have it. If you were to ask what constitutes a war crime, the informed answer would be, that depends, specifically on the culture and the time period. But now that I just said that out loud, I feel like that's kind of a like Redditor answer to that question. So let me give you the once and for all conclusive list of major war crimes that exist in the modern day. Willful killing of protected persons, torture or inhuman treatment, willfully causing great suffering or serious injury to protected persons.
Bro, I ain't seen all that shit. Alright, hold on. We move, carry on.
Against their own thought, depriving rights to free thought, unlawful deportation or confinement, taking hostages, directly attacking civilians, indiscriminate attacks, using sexual violence, using soldiers under the age of 15, using banned weapons like poison gas, conducting treacherous acts such as pretending to surrender only to ambush enemy, declaring no mercy or refusing to surrender, pillaging or humiliating or brain treatment of protected person, including mutilation, environmental warfare, and attack on peacekeeping or humanitarian missions. And in case you forgot, protected.
But that shit's weird, bro. Ain't no mother. To be fair, now, bro, if I was a general, I'd be like, I ain't following that
Persons
shit.
basically include civilians, wounded enemies, or prisoners of war, as well as neutral parties and peacekeepers, and others that I'm sure I'm forgetting. But interestingly enough, after looking at different cultures, different eras, and different contexts, it's interesting to see how nearly every treaty or rule or custom we discussed all had the same goal of eliminating unnecessary suffering when possible, almost to assume that war may be inevitable. However, while suffering may be a byproduct, it's a variable that can be minimized and should be if possible, which is kind of a morbid silver lining in this entire situation. But yeah, if you were curious about every war crime,
that's so
hopefully this video
true.
served as a pretty good glimpse into what
Nah, bro, that was good actually. Bro, that's the issue. It's good to know like we have those kind of rules in place, but I know damn well barely any of them were followed. Oh my god. Okay, chat, that was a bit morbid. Let's line up the mood with some TikToks. Really enough. What time is right now? 27. My god, chat, you know, chat. I can't spend all day watching TikToks. You know, I got a haircut pretty soon.
Hi, Luna. Hello, I love you. I love you so much.
Oh my god, that's so sweet. That's so sweet, bro.
Dance on him. Dance on his bitch ass. Dance on his bitch ass. Kind of fucking emo.
Yeah. Also, chat, I am aware.
Nice. Dance on him. Dance on his bitch ass.
I'm not sure who, but somebody dropped that hard R.
Yeah, I'm
What were people saying? Can any manager see if I can swap my shift? Oh.
You lame.
So funny. See your nails. Ah, they're painted. They're so sweet. Ah,
Let me see your coat.
the little princess. I get a little coat. Ah, so precious. That's so sweet, bro. That's actually true, bro. Trying to like put your fucking like custom ringtone is fucking like, it's dumb on iPhone because you have to use fucking GarageBand, bro. Like yo, Apple, Steve Jobs, well, he's dead. Who's ever running Apple made that shit more simple. Hang on. Also, every motherfucker just everyone just talk about Daffy, bro. Oh my god, bro.
Damn, that shit stinks in Jesus' name. Lord help us.
Lord help us.
Lord have mercy. What the fuck is this?
Bro.
Somebody.
Dude, this was crazy, bro. Some motherfucker put weights in fish.
I knew it. I knew it. I didn't physically see him do it, but I saw him like putting his finger down the throat. Oh, dude, I can't wait.
Oh my god, bro. What a pathetic, bum-ass, unemployed, worthless motherfucker. He put a tiny weight like that, which is an extra 10 grams. so he could like win the competition.
15 grams. Bag 7, right? I'm gonna tell him he didn't win. What bag number are you?
7. We paid to upgrade.
You're not winning.
Okay, bro, the shock in his face, bro. Alright, bro, come on, let's get out of here.
Wait, dude.
That's crazy. But if I was on a boat right there, I would get an anchor, I would get the chain, and I'd throw him overboard, bro. Deadass. Oh my god, chat. This is like one of the best edits I've ever seen. Period. Period. Your dreams come true. I wonder, 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 wonder. Your dreams come true. Wonder, 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 wonder. Come true. That's so good, bro. If some motherfucker like stole it, just reposted it. But if like this motherfucker made it, so good, bro. Nothing already. We done now. We done now.
Parts of the UK and today I bet it. Oh my f***ing god! What have I just seen? I thought his foot had come off. I know what you said.
No. He's enjoying life.
Oh my god,
Oh my god, wait, chat for real. I want this weather so bad, bro. Bro, I was watching a podcast with some motherfucker like who lives in LA. He's like, oh, you know, I don't mind LA, but having the same clear sky with no clouds kind of weather is so annoying. I was like, bro, like I would kill for that kind of weather. Just clear, sunny skies, no clouds, no rain, like ever. That's what I want, Papi Chulo. That's exactly what I want.
Hey, dude.
Yeah.
Alright, next comment today coming in from Paxi.
Actually.
Fortnite?
Fortnite? What? Michael Jackson?
You have a tail?
What?
Choose language?
Huh? Yeah, guys get it. That's so funny.
Michael Jackson?
I don't know. This is so dumb, bro.
I'm sorry.
Mama said, oh shit, oh no, bro. It's crazy.
When I woke up, I was kind of tired, so I decided I was gonna go back to sleep.
What are you talking about? What are you talking about? Why are you so sassy, bro? Bro, he just want to tell you a cool story and you're fucking like dissing him. What an asshole. Asshole!
Hey, what are you doing? What?
Wait, what? What was I saying?
Hey, what are you doing?
What are you doing?
I told you to not make them come here.
Maybe he called.
He
How you
called.
doing, officer? This is David.
Can you?
David, are you ever gonna?
That's crazy. Oh.
Wait for it,
Down the world.
High fives.
High fives.
Why? High fives. High fives. Why would you pause?
I'm being crazy for, bro.
You let him know. Or her. Everybody has. The chairman comes in a different.
Nah, bro, it's evil, bro. Right, that's clever though. What an asshole, bro. That's clever though. Yeah. What for you, bro? Shut up.
I'm sorry.
Wait, what the fuck? Hold on. Hang what? Hiring a Hitler, Epstein, and Diddy impersonator at the same time?
Hey man, you the Hitler impersonator? So basically, the party's low-key canceled. It's just gonna be me and my boyfriend. But if you want, we can still pay you.
But he didn't even fucking dress up properly, bro. No, skip that.
I know it was a kid's birthday, but they canceled.
Like, I came here for the kids, though.
Yeah.
That must be the pizza.
But you know what's funny? This shit is so fake, bro. God damn. But it could have been real, bro. To be fair, though, who the fuck would find work as a Hitler impersonator?
It's a green light. Hey.
No, man.
Man, you gotta pull over. Find
Come
the
on,
parking
man.
lot, man.
Fuck on, man.
You're gonna get arrested. You're gonna get DUI.
What do you want,
Alright,
man?
man. I'm saving you from getting DUI.
What? You drive the car, bro?
Right over here. Get you out of traffic, my amigo.
What the fuck, bro?
You're gonna wake up like, what the fuck?
Bro, what the? We got in the car, bro. Do you fucking GTA 5 fucking like get in the car and put him back in the back seat and drive over? That's really nice, actually. What the fuck? That's like really kind of him. Oh my god. To be fair, bro, at the same time, like he could have robbed him so easily. Like, bro, if I was that guy, bro, like I would do the exact same thing, but you know, at the end, like I would like suck his dick, you know, to get like my own reward.
Yeah.
Ew. Oh, that's me. So I didn't just say ew. Just the way she was looking, bro. Sorry. The way she was looking like her face. Like nothing is midgets, bro. It's fucked up. Ew. Shut up, bro. Who are you? Shut up, bro. You belong to me, but tonight, bro. I was thinking about this. I really hope Kevin G, like in the future, like keeps that voice. But I'll be so heartbroken if he goes up and his puberty, like, I'm Kevin G. Like, bro, if he lost that voice, I'd be so fucking mad, bro. He has such a nice voice. What was that one song? You left your hoodie on my chair.
We attempted to make a massive pan of lasagna with construction tools.
Why?
Did you know there's a small chance your eyebrows will never grow back?
What the fuck did you just say to me?
Look it up. Ask Bernard.
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 If I shave my eyebrows off, is there a small chance they never grow back?
Typically, eyebrows do grow back, but hair follicles can be a little unpredictable. It's rare that they wouldn't return, but things like age, health conditions, or overplucking could slow things.
That is true, bro. Wait, bro, how old is Jinxie? How old is Jinxie? How old is Jinxie? Ooh. Oh my god, yeah, bro, he might be cooked. Bro, he was born 9/11? That's crazy, bro.
Dad! Dad!
Your
damn daddy!
The fuck, bro? Pretty good. Yeah, bro. Bro. Odds are, they probably already know, bro. That song is so good, bro. Big fish. Oh shit, bro. Bro, how big gonna be, bro? Better be big, bro. Better be a shark, bro, if you move like that. Oh, just have him up, bro. Just pull it. Give him a hand. Oh shit. Oh my god. That's it. But you didn't even have him out, bro. What an asshole, bro. But if I was a dad, I'd be a really good dad. I would jump in the water. I would fucking... I would beat the fish. Just my son, bro. I do that kind of shit. Yeah.
If you want an instant...
What a wolf. What a worthless fucking, like... what a worthless, like, fucking trick. I can guess your age by your profile picture. Wow, dude. Can you speak, like, multiple languages? Bye. Big guy. Bye. Big. That shit's so funny, bro. That shit. Bro, please tell me Jimskin's like actually like a good guy. But if he was like fucking like bad on the inside, bro, I'd be so mad. But he seems so funny, bro. He's crazy. Yo, Jimskin, before I finish the video, collab, please. I would love that. Thank you.
¿Te gusta ver vídeos divertidos de Azul?